This place here is full of history.
Little Rock's 9th Street, also known as the end of the line and Little Harlem.
It's just, wow.
Through the eyes of someone who lived, ate, walked, and breathed here, Emmett White remembers it all.
Black tailors, you know, everybody down here were black. It was a black business, you know.
The early 1900s, probably to about the 1960s, 70s, I guess you would say, are the peak times.
Tamika Lee and Chris Hancock work at the Mosaic Templars Cultural Center, one of the last two bookends of the historic street remaining.
People of all, races, creeds, religious backgrounds flocked to this area because the restaurants were great, the clubs were great. It was a cultural center for really the entire city.
As you walk along 9th Street, you can see most of these buildings are no longer in use, but these blocks are still filled with dozens of memories. Carrie McCoy takes us inside Taborian Hall and on a tour of the other bookend.
Here is the Dreamland Ballroom.
Decades ago, these seats were filled with people who came miles away to hear some of the greatest performers in American musical history. Performers like the Queen of Jazz, Ella Fitzgerald, Nat King Cole, and Louis Satchmo Armstrong. Now, paint chips away, but the spotlights still shine on the stage where the greats once performed.
It just kind of, keeps that sense of pride going to know this is what 9th Street was, this is what Little Rock had to offer, and maybe what we can have to offer again.
The museum also keeps those memories alive.
It's actually our exhibit that focuses on a city within a city.
Telling the stories of the historic Little Harlem district.
Because that story is one that needs to keep being told.
In hopes that one day, the sounds that once resonated in the ballroom and pictures that hang in this museum will come alive again on 9th Street in Little Rock. Marlisa Goldsmith, THV11 News.
It's known to passerby as the home of Arkansas Flag and Banner, but within the walls of this 3-story building on West 9th Street lie important pieces of Little Rock history. Completed in 1918, Taborian Hall is the last remaining original building on the 9th Street line, once the center for black businesses and culture in the city. In the late 1950s and early 60s, well-known musicians frequented the 3rd floor Dreamland Ballroom, including B.B. King and Louis Armstrong.
People don't believe this, but I bought this building for $20,000. I know, right?
In 1990, current owner Carrie McCoy fell in love with and purchased the dilapidated building, with hopes of one day restoring it to house her flag business.
You couldn't walk anywhere in the building. The floors were missing, the roof was off, birds were flying around.
A monumental undertaking, McCoy has transformed the building over the years, starting with the 1st floor and working her way up.
In 1991, we moved in 2000, we moved to the 2nd floor, and now it's 2018. It's time to do the Dreamland Ballroom.
Right now, the 3rd floor is used for photo shoots and private parties, but because it's only accessible by stairs, not everyone can enjoy its beauty. But that's about to change, thanks to a special grant.
We've never received a grant, period. They're tin, they're actually really ornate.
After applying for and failing to receive grants in the past, McCoy and her son Matthew were shocked when they learned the U.S. Department of the Interior and National Park Service had awarded them a nearly $500,000 restoration grant. The money will allow them to install an elevator so that the ballroom is ADA accessible. It will also pay for them to install heat and air, repair windows, and expel the bats.
I think it's a pretty impressive feat to be awarded $499,668 or however much it is, which I think gives us some really excellent credibility.
McCoy says the money takes her one step closer to her dream of bringing Dreamland back to life.